You would ask me in my 20s, they said, Lou, when you're in your 40s, you're going to get arrested. What do you think it's going to be for? I would have said something like a DUI.
Right.
I'd knock some guy out
in
a bar fight.
Yep.
I would have never said, no. You're going to get arrested for opening your business. What?
Unbelievable.
A business?
Hey friends, welcome to the Victor Marks Podcast with Victor Marks, founder of All Things Possible Ministries. Welcome to the show where we bring you real conversations faced with life's hard truths, stories of redemption, and the latest from the front lines. Whether you're on the road, getting your day started, or finally settling in, we've got an exciting new episode planned for you. So let's dive into today's show.
Hey everybody, Victor Marks here. Welcome to another edition of the show. We are live at AmFest. That's where we're doing these recordings. I got a new friend from the San Diego area on this edition. Lou, I gotta say, you're kind of wild looking, man. You're just wild looking. And it's actually what caught my attention. And you're a social media influencer. But here's what really caught my attention with you, outside the look, is what you say. You are so profound in some of your posts on social media, your insights and wisdom, and then it's all fueled by this boldness and courage that makes people want to listen to you. Right. How in the world did you get involved in this? Weren't you a knuckle dragger in a gym?
Yeah, so I was one of those guys that just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get bothered with stuff. I couldn't tell you who was running for what. I mean, I knew the president, but I didn't really care about politics. And then they did these lockdowns on us in 2020. I had a business. I had a gym I owned in North County, San Diego. And I was like, this is trying to take away my dream. And I prayed on a lot of that. I was saved in 2016. I opened my gym in 2017. And it was something I worked with God. God basically opened those doors for me. So it was very, very God-driven. The reason I said, God, we're going to make this successful because I'm going to use this gym as a testimony to my salvation. So that's how I'm going to make it work. Because if you do a business and you don't have God behind it, it's going to fail. It won't be as successful as it could be. Yeah. So that's the anointing that I went into that with. So now they're closing it down. And membership's losing. We lost about 1/3 of our members right away.
We remember how painful this was.
Yeah, it was. They were doing it to everyone, and I said, I'm not going to stand for this anymore. California is not going to open up businesses, so I took a stand against what I thought was tyrannical lockdowns. I got arrested. We went on. We kept fighting at 14 criminal charges.
You got arrested. Hang on.
Handcuffed.
Taken
to jail
at your place of business
for doing nothing else than being open.
Wow.
You would ask me in my 20s, they said, Lou, when you're in your 40s, you're going to get arrested. What do you think it's going to be for? I would have said something like a DUI. Right. I'd knock some guy out in a bar fight.
Yep.
I would have never said, no. You're going to get arrested for opening your business. What?
Unbelievable.
A business. So that's what I got arrested for, and we stayed open all throughout. We took hits. But finally the Lord prevailed. All the charges were dropped. All the threats of fines were thrown away. We were allowed operate openly and in peace from the state.
Folks, this is a point in America's history that I got a feeling many are going to try to erase because it's such a black eye. But it was an eye-opener on what our government could do without good people standing up. And you were one of the few that stood up, especially in Southern California. That place is near and dear to me because that's where I met my wife, future wife, and I served in the Marine Corps right there. So it's
Camp Pendleton?
Camp Pendleton.
Yeah, I'm right up the street from you.
Oh, yeah. And I have been in some fights in your neck of the woods back in the day. But I love how you use that as a platform and a catapult. I mean, God kind of called you to start being a voice.
Yep.
In a different way. What are you involved in right now that people, when they go online or they look you up, can find out about? What's kind of the center of your passion?
So we started my own podcast called the Dreaded Patriots. The three of us, we all have dreads. We're dreaded. we're patriots. So it might be a triple entendre. I'm not quite sure how that works with those word plays and stuff. But we basically tackle all these issues. We talk about grooming the kids in schools. We talk about the pro-life movement. We talk about obesity. We talk about a lot of issues right now that are really plaguing our society. We talk about the redefinition, how they change the definition of women, how they try to change the definition of what it means to be this or that. And we take a bold stand against that. And everything we talk about is kind of, it comes back to faith.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's not going to be anyone who's going to save us. There's not going to be a Donald Trump that's going to come in and save us. There's not going to be someone that comes in and does it. It's going to be Jesus. It's going to be the power of Christ.
Oh, wait, you're one of those guys. Yeah. You're one of those guys that believes actually our country, the only real hope is for people to repent and turn to God.
I think, just having those Christian values.
Yeah.
We don't have those values, right? So they're trying to force Christian values out of schools. They took Jesus out of school. Look what they replaced it with. They replaced it with sexuality. They replaced it with drag queens. They replaced it with all this other.
It's an aggressive pursuit of kids.
Very aggressive. And that's what happens when you take Jesus out of it. You don't necessarily have to. I'm not telling everyone, you got to come to Christ or you're going to die.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we need to have those values. This nation was formed on Christian values.
Like a real moral code.
Yeah, we need to have something. You got to have a code, man.
So back in 1987, 88, 89 at that time, I would teach Bible studies at middle schools. I was in Vista at the time, and it was after school clubs. And I remember people thinking it was odd but good. It was odd but good. Yeah, you're helping our kids. Now, and all these years later, that people talked about one day there may be satanic clubs if you allow Christians in.
They're doing it.
They're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
So it really has got a super aggressive. Now you brought up obese people in that little deal. Why would you bring up obesity? What is that about?
So right now in America, 75% of Americans are overweight or obese. The obesity rate is 46% here. It's one of the highest in the world.
That includes kids.
I mean, the only places that are more obese are like Samoa or Tongan Islands, where they're naturally bigger people.
Right.
So it's an obesity crisis, and it's a crisis of just laziness and complicity into what we have with us. My daughter off stage there. She's camera shy. She just wants to bring
good for her
little stuffed animals here.
Well, the whole obesity deal, that affects everybody. People think it's just a personal choice. It affects our society.
I believe the amount of money spent on the healthcare system, it's 300 million or 380 million a year.
Wow.
Or 300, maybe billion.
Yeah, it's a $1 billion industry.
So, and that's what the cost is for our healthcare system.
And it affects all of us, folks. I remember going through COVID, people that were highly susceptible to it. Mm-hmm. And it's real. I mean, COVID's real.
Oddly enough, 75% of the people in the ICU with COVID were obese, overweight.
So, I mean, we talked about, I didn't like being masked personally because there wasn't true science behind it. And I thought, man, they're setting a lot of these fake rules based on just, honestly, obese people. And if you lost someone to COVID, I feel for you. And I mean, I've had it.
It's tragic.
It is tragic.
It's not the coolest thing, But at the same time, we have this government who during the entire COVID pandemic never once talked about people eating a healthy diet, taking vitamins, exercising. And
why? Why?
They're in bed with Big Pharma. They're in bed with Big Corp. Look, Big Corporation is pushing the sugar cereals and the foods to make you fat.
Are you listening
Big Pharma,
to this?
That sends money to Big Pharma where they can treat you for being fat.
Well, it's folks.
And the government's the propaganda machine. The media tries pushing it like, you be acceptable in your own body.
Well, and the thing that we say is it's not a conspiracy theory if it's factual.
It's not.
This is all factual, folks.
It's 100% fat. And fat is 100% fat.
Both.
When people get mad at me, they're like, "Oh, you're body shaming people." You know, fit shaming is way worse. You know how many times people like I'll say something and be like, "Oh, it's just your steroids and your meathead gym stuff." I'm like, wait a second. I'm in shape. You can say whatever you want to about me, but as soon as I say, "Hey, man, you ever heard of a treadmill before?" Right. I get mad for fit shaming you. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to talk to you and tell you a story about how obesity is a bad problem.
I spoke at a men's conference a while back, and I said, "Hey, some of y'all just need to drop some weight, get healthy for your family and service to God." I made some folks mad. One guy, it was like a year later, he contacts us. He goes, "I lost 80 pounds. I was so mad at you that day, but I lost 80 pounds because I'm a pastor." Yeah. I said, "Good for you, man. Good for you." So, hey, you may be listening. This is just a little point of inflection where you go, I should. How would you recommend to people just to lose weight?
Just, one, it comes out a little bit of education, but two, you just got to get out. You just got to get out. Oy.
Moving on.
Yeah. Oh, she wants to see back on camera. So you just got to get out and be active. You know, if you don't want to join a gym, maybe just go for a walk every day.
Yeah.
Maybe stop buying so many processed foods. Start cooking your own food at home. Start there.
It's
little things can add into a big thing.
Yeah, it's more simple than people know. So Lou, my bride right there was Miss Fitness USA.
Okay.
And she
my wife was in the Miss Olympia contest. Yeah, so
there you go. So we married some disciplined gals.
Yes.
She used to do all the swimsuit stuff and was on the cover of Honor World and all that. And folks, you don't have to be at that level to just take care of yourself. And that's what we're talking about. Walk, stop eating processed foods, cook some natural stuff, get some sunshine on you. It'll help you mentally. Yeah, it'll help you mentally. All right, I have two final questions I always ask my guests. And the first one, it's all based on perception. How we perceive people. So the first question, based on that only, there's no wrong answer. What's your perception of me or my wife or the ministry or anything we do? Because there's got to be a perception you've drawn. What is that to you?
You guys do so much, and and so I follow you guys. And someone asked me, they said, if you had to describe Victor Marks, how would you describe Victor Marks? And I sat there. I'm like, that's a profound question.
That is a question.
You tell me I couldn't describe myself,
right?
But I thought about it. I could describe Victor Marks. I go, you ever seen the movie Taken? I go, he's basically that guy, with Jesus, sprinkle some Jesus on him.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the guy's name in the movie, but he finds these people.
Yeah.
He stops human trafficking, which is really the premise of the movie Taken. His daughter actually becomes a victim of human trafficking. He tracks them down. They did the whole thing that you have 72 hours, 90 hours to find them. You said similar things like there's a window for finding these people. And to me, like, human trafficking is one of the most overlooked things that are, people don't think it. People would rather just not know that uncomfortable truth exists. Yeah. Because it's a horrible thing to think about. Right. So it's very uncomfortable to think that people are getting trafficked for sex. Yeah. And that their daughter could be trafficked for sex. So people just turn a blind eye because it's not me, it's not affecting my family. And it's a huge issue.
It's a huge
issue. And what you're doing out there is God's work.
Thank you.
And what you're doing out there is each person's life you save, I believe, has a ripple effect across, because what that person could have been is now will be.
Yeah.
And who knows who they're going to affect now. That person can go on and affect 100 people's lives, who affect 100 people's lives, who affect 100 people's lives. So you only helped one person, but you could have effectively helped hundreds of thousands of people.
What a beautiful way to think about it. And Lou, I tell folks, I'm surrounded by team members, just like in that movie, people with very specific skill sets of hunting and tracking and recovery, rescuing, trauma relief, follow-up. if people go to our website, victormarks.com, you'll see the broad spectrum of what we do. And everybody wants it to, it's about kicking in doors. And there's a time and place for that. But our end goal is to, we put it simply like this. We set captives free, physically, emotionally, and then spiritually.
And I see some of those stories, and it just brings tears to my eyes because you can feel the emotion, and you can feel just what's going in the moment. I consider myself a very empathetic person. Yeah. So I read those things. It hits me like a wave.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, "Why are you just sitting here like sobbing?" Yeah. I'm like, "Because it's so beautiful."
Yeah. And God does this work, and we appreciate people praying and the support that enables us. Last question.
All right.
Everybody dies.
Well, not everybody truly lives.
That is true. Exactly. But for you, when you close your eyes or take your last breath when you're 150 years old,
let's hope so.
What's going to happen to Lou, and why do you believe it?
What's going to happen to me? I believe that I will be up there with the big guy.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's a fight in our lives to my biggest struggle. So my biggest struggle isn't doing things like this.
Right.
My biggest struggle isn't keeping my gym open, paying my bills, raising my daughter, being a good husband. My biggest struggle is living and believing in the gospel every day. I mean, we look at Jesus Christ. He lived a perfect life for 33 years. A perfect life for 33 years.
Yeah.
I can't live a perfect life for 33 seconds.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Right?
I get it.
And yet we're still given grace.
Yes.
We're still given to us.
Yeah.
Because someone spilled their blood for our salvation. It's given to us. So every day it's a fight for me to try and live my life according to the gospel. Every day I fail, Victor. Every single day I fail. But I'm still trying. I try to live in the Word. I try to do the best I can, and I'll be the first to admit I could be the least best Christian at living by it, but I try every day to do it.
Well, thanks for sharing that and sharing your heart. You know what? I had Stephen on here, as you saw before, and we talked about living this faith out. It's not about perfection. There's only one that did it.
Yep.
But it is about direction, and you push hard. Every day you get up, you fight the good fight, and you push toward heading in the right direction. And there's something to be said about that versus someone who's think they've arrived and require no grace. And they live a life that's not pleasing in secret and silence. And then it manifests through arrogance and spiritual self-righteousness. But, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate who you are, what you do. And
that goes both ways.
Yeah.
Because I love the fact there's a man like you in this world that's doing what you're doing and fighting what you're doing, because through what you're doing, you inspire me to know that I'm not alone and that I can work harder too.
There you go.
So there's people I feel like we all kind of grow off each other.
Yeah.
Because if there weren't people like you, if there weren't people like Steve, and there weren't other people out there fighting this fight, you would feel alone, and eventually you'd succumb to defeat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But knowing there's other people out there, it's like there's this camaraderie in Christ, and in our fight for freedom, for the American way, and just knowing that's there, it's just empowerment every day.
Well, and that's one of the feelings you get here at AmFest, right? There's thousands of people with like-mindedness. And it's good to lock arms. Folks, we all run in different lanes, but we're running in the same direction. And we are called to encourage and build up and strengthen and to fight the good fight. Well, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hey, do it for the glory of God. And Lou, I appreciate you being on the program today. How can people find out more about you?
Best place to see me is on social media. Instagram, my name, Louis Uridel. I'm on Twitter now. Back on Twitter.
Back on Twitter.
Louis Uridel. I'm on Getter Louis Uridel. Rumble Louis Uridel.
How do you spell your last name? For those
URI. It's LOUIS, and then URID as in David, EL. And we have our podcast, The Dreaded Patriots. That's on all the episodes are on Rumble. We're getting them all uploaded to iTunes.
Good.
Now. We'll get them on Spotify. So we're really looking forward to launching that and getting that going, because more word out there, the better, man.
If you're driving just listening, you definitely got to check out the YouTube channel or find his podcast, because you got to take a look at this dude. He's a hoot. I love it. And he's a fellow warrior. Well, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, brother.
God bless you. We'll talk to y'all later.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. We'd love to stay connected with you and invite you to the conversation beyond this podcast. You can check out more of the work we're doing around the world at victormarks.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all linked in the show notes. Be sure to drop us a comment in the review section if today's show has impacted you in any way, or if there's anything you'd like to hear more of. We're always encouraged to hear from you. Thanks for spending your time with us. Until next time.